Good evening. Time to begin. Come on in and have your seat. Cold, rainy Kentucky winter tonight, and you are here. We're glad you're here for our Bible class. We have a few announcements that we'll make before beginning our class. Lillian Stark, James Cody's cousin that we all know that comes here quite a bit, wants us to put her daughter-in-law, Joanne Stark, on the prayer list. Joanne is in the hospital in Florida, and she's asked that she be added to our prayer list. Joanne Stark. Janet Jackson had outpatient surgery yesterday, something to do with her spine, but I tried to call her and I haven't gotten all the details on her yet, but keep Janet in your prayers. She's a member here. Carlotta Long is now at Windsor Care for rehab, room 56. They seem to put a lot of them in room 56. So visit Carlotta if you can. She would like to have visitors. Carol Tapp will have a follow-up mammogram tomorrow, right? January 22nd. And we want to pray for good results, good positive results. Remy Watts, daughter of Josh Ginner's colleague, is dealing with health concerns, and her parents would appreciate prayers on her behalf. David Willoughby, who hadn't been here in a while because of his health, cousin of Donnie Willoughby, would appreciate our prayers. I have several sources here. Joe Davis moved back to Windsor Care and would appreciate cards and visits. Gary Thompson is at Windsor Care Rehab, and cards should be sent there. The announcement sheet incorrectly gives Fountain Circle address, and that's the one in Winchester, and he's not there. He's up here at Windsor. Gary Thompson and his wife, Susan Thompson, I think is at home, but also has cancer. And so keep both of them in your prayers. I think that's all. Anybody have anything else? Yeah. Chris Williams' next surgery is scheduled for February 26th. Chris was here just a couple of Sundays ago, and he knows a lot of people in this congregation, and seemed like a nice fellow, but keep him in your prayers. His surgery is February 26th. Let me write that down. Okay, what else? All right, let's start with a prayer. Father, we bow before you, thanking you at the end of this day for the great privilege and ability to speak with you in this manner, the creator and sustainer of the universe. We thank you for Jesus. We thank you for salvation. We thank you for the church. Thank you for this church, for this congregation, all these people who come together here to worship you, to study your word, to live their lives for you and according to your word. We pray your blessings upon all these names of people that have been mentioned this evening as having various ailments. We pray that you will bless them. Pray that the doctors will make good decisions in their care. And that those who are not expected to get better, we pray that you'll comfort them and help them to have peace. We pray that you'll be with us as we study your word this evening. Help us to glean truths from it that will be used in our lives so that we can glorify you and show Jesus to our community. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Tonight, we are in Job and Psalms in our Old Testament overview or survey or whatever you wish to call it. Let me very quickly, I didn't do this, but very quickly let me commend those who were in charge and took care of the youth rally on Monday. I thought it was well attended. The food was good. Everything went great, I thought. And I know you've given of your time to do that, and I appreciate that. It was a good youth rally. Perhaps no other book in all of literature addresses the problem of human suffering in as much detail as the book of Job. In the fall of 2003, I held a gospel meeting at Queen Street, the last meeting in that building. I was living in Nashville, Tennessee at the time, and I came back here to speak. And I was nervous as a cat on a hot tin roof because I was coming back home to speak for the first time, and for the big congregation. I had spoken for the little congregations in the area before. And one of my lessons was Job analyzed and applied in that meeting. I still study this book regularly because I still struggle, and I don't know if you do, I still struggle with the idea that bad things happen to good people. I struggle with that. And I'm not the only one who struggles with that. Horrible, violent, nasty, bloody things happen to wonderful people. And Job gives us some insight. It's interesting to me that Satan is mentioned 14 times in the first 2 chapters of the book of Job. That tells you a little bit about who's behind a lot of this suffering, isn't it? Sin is in the world, and suffering has accompanied. I often tell people, has accompanied it. I often tell people that people say, well, life's not fair. I remember when I pick on my children. I remember when my children were growing up, they'd say, well, Dad, that's not fair. And I said, you live a temporary existence in a sin-cursed world. What makes you think it's going to be fair? And it's not. And whoever told you life was fair probably lied to you about something else. But it doesn't always seem to be fair, does it? You know, sweet, wonderful people who just one tragedy after another. I'm thinking of a family. I don't have time to do all this, but I'm thinking of a family who Sharon married Mike, and they had a son, and Mike decided he wanted greener pastures, so he left. They lived in New York, and he left and went to Florida. Just left them, her and her son. Not long after that, Sharon had a car wreck and left her crippled seriously crippled for the rest of her life. When her son was 16, he was riding a bicycle and a car ran over him, and he was in a coma for 6 weeks, and he had permanent brain damage. She met Danny and married him, and they had another son, Scott. And when Scott was 18, when I met the family, Scott ran a red light and a car hit him in the driver's door, and he's been in a wheelchair ever since, and that was 20-some years ago. Need I go on? One thing after another happens to these people, and you wonder why. Job's the book to learn how to deal with trouble and adversity while remaining faithful to God. So we want to look briefly at it, and it'll be brief, I promise you. Then we're going to look at Psalms before we run out of time. Job's character. I'm not going to go into who wrote it and when it was written and all that. I don't have time for all that. We've studied it in depth before here. But his character, verse 8 tells you what kind of guy he was. There was none like him in all the earth. That's brief. Don't you love the brevity of the Bible? That's one of the evidences that it's inspired. There's none like him in all the earth. And he had been wonderfully blessed. He had 7 sons, 3 daughters, 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 oxen, 500 donkeys, donkeys by the thousands, men and maidservants. He was the greatest of all the men of the east, and there was none like him in all the earth. And Satan would not leave that alone. Let me tell you, when you think you're flying high, the Apostle Paul said, "Let him who thinketh he standeth take heed lest he fall." About the time you think you got this life thing figured out, Satan's not going to leave you alone. And he wouldn't leave him alone. He'd been going around on the earth apparently looking, and there are a lot of things we don't understand about Satan, but apparently looking for children of God that he could trick into serving him. And God said, consider Job, a blameless and upright man who fears God and shuns evil. And so after striking at him twice, the first time he took everything he had, all of his kids and all of his wealth and everything he had. And Job still worshiped God. He didn't curse him. So Satan comes back and says, well, let me hit him with his health. So he strikes him with a disease that has boils from head to toe, itching, drastic change of appearance, difficulty in eating, mental depression, worms and running sores, shortness of breath, darkness of eyes, odorous breath, loss of weight, corroding bones, gnawing pain, blackened skin, and fever, which apparently went on for months. You ready to give up now? God, I can't stand this. Hear it all the time. If a man's got his health, he's got everything. He don't even have that. He no longer has his health. No longer has his wealth. Those are the things that you and I call blessings, right? Our health and our wealth. Those are the things for which we thank God at night. Thank you that I have a home. Thank you that I have a bed. Thank you that my family's all well. He doesn't have that anymore. What do? He's sitting at the city dump, scraping his sores, his boils, scabs, with a piece of broken pottery. And news travels. You know that guy that everybody used to look up to, that guy that had that mansion over there? You know that old guy that used to stand at the gates of the city and give everybody advice like he knew something? You ought to see him now. He looks like a dead man. Word gets to his three friends, Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar. So they come to, again, quotation marks, comfort him. They come to comfort him and mourn with him. Now, they all still have everything. They're all still healthy. They're still riding their camels. They still got their wealth. And so naturally, because he is down here and they're up here, they're smarter than he is. So one of them claims, Eliphaz claims, I had a secret revelation from God about you, Job. I know why this happened to you. You do? That would excite me. Tell me what he said. He said, you did some horribly sinful thing, and all you have to do is repent of it. And he'll fix it all back. Goes the spirits. He couldn't have possibly told you that because I didn't do anything. Bildad. He's a heartless guy. Chapter 8 and verse 4, Job, God told me your children deserved to die. They were godless. Don't you want to cry when you hear that? That baby wasn't worth shooting anyway. I know they were grown. They're still your babies. History tells us that only people who have committed horrible deeds have their houses blow in on them and fall down and kill them. They must have done something horrible. Same argument as the first guy, except this one's aimed at the children. Zophar comes along and he says the same thing. You've committed some horrible thing, but he claims in chapter 11, verse 12, I have special vision from God. I have special knowledge. God has given me special information. And so, here's what he said. God gave you special information? What did he tell you? He said you sinned and you need to repent. You need to come back. That can't be it because I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. Family, it's a rare occasion when even the closest, best friend knows how you feel and through what you are going. It's a rare occasion. People say, oh, I know how you feel. No, you don't. You might know how you would feel if this happened to you, but you don't know how I feel. I was preaching a funeral. Danny, it was Bob Warren's funeral down in what's the town? Harrisburg? Yeah, Harrisburg. We both knew this guy. They asked me to speak at his funeral, and I stood up and I told his family, I said, I know you're hurting. I didn't say I know how you feel. I said, I know you're hurting. And I knew they were. They were sitting there bawling their eyes out. And I said, I wish I could take away your pain. And the guy, you know this guy that preached after me, the guy that got up and finished the thing out, he said, well, I'm not going to stand up here and tell you I know how you feel. And it was a funeral or I would have defended myself. I would have said, I didn't say that. I didn't say I know how you feel. I know this hurts. You know this hurts. So it's a rare occasion when somebody comes to your hospital bed and flops down beside of you and talks about the weather. And my mother used to say they talk about coon hunting and all that. They don't talk about that kind of stuff anymore much. But talk about the weather and all that and then say, well, I know exactly what you're going through. You know, that's rare if you do. I won't say it never happens, but it's rare. Well, there's a fourth friend, Elihu. He's young. And so he has sat, I always think he's sitting on the fence post or on the camel tie-up rail thing. Just sitting there with the straw sticking out of his mouth and listening to these old men say, you've sinned, you've sinned, you've sinned. And he says, I've been waiting patiently because it's respectful to let the older ones speak first. But I'm about to bust. he wants to talk. I'm about to burst like wine with no vent. He too claims to have had word from God, but he doesn't exactly say you're being punished for sin. He says you're being taught a lesson. This is meant to teach, strengthen, and humble you and discipline you, Job. Now, I know Hebrews chapter 12 does talk about discipline. And I know that maybe some things that happen in life are used to discipline us. I'm not convinced that God makes them happen, but that He uses things that are happening to us to discipline us and teach us. And so Elihu's position is, you lost everything you had to teach you a lesson. I don't know what it is, but to humble you. Well, there's a whole lot in the middle. And Job, they talk about the patience of Job. I don't think Job was very patient. I think what that's supposed to be in James, where James talks about your old King James says patience of Job, I think it ought to be perseverance of Job. He kept going. He continued. And in the middle, he gets pretty straightforward with God. Tell me why this happened to me. If I've done something horrible, point it out, and I'll repent. You ever yelled at God? I have. I'll sit here today and tell you I have. I've yelled at Him through tears. and ask Him just to help me make sense out of this. Job did something similar to that. But he never sinned. He never gave up his faith. He never turned his back on God, even when his dear wife said, "You're going to keep going after all this? Curse God and die." He didn't. I like his answer. By the way, this is way back early in the account, but when his wife said, "Curse God and die," he said, "I didn't hear you complaining when we was rich." That's not exactly how he said it, but that's kind of what he said. Are we going to praise Him and serve Him while we're rich, and then whenever we lose everything, we're going to turn our backs on Him? And so, finally, we read this book all the way through to chapter 38, and God speaks up finally. You're always wondering all through this book, where's God in all this? Now, He's there. He knows everything that's going on. And He speaks up with a series of questions about creation and power, the origin of the earth, questions about the sea, can you make a new day, where does rain and snow come from, what about the constellations and the moon and the animals, and he talks about these controversial creatures that may or may not have been dinosaurs, Leviathan and Behemoth, and he talks about them, and it's kind of funny, they must have been huge, ferocious beasts, and he said, "Can you catch one of them with a fish hook? Can you put a hook in his nose and lead him around?" And if you don't know the answers to these common matters, why should you expect to completely understand the profound issues of why bad things happen to good people, righteous people? Job realizes the mistake he made. Look at chapter 40 and verses 3 through 5 in the book of Job. You've got to read this. It's almost funny. Job answered the Lord after the Lord confronted him with these questions. Chapter 40 and verse 3, Job answered the Lord and said, "Behold, I am vile. What shall I answer you? I lay my hand over my mouth. Once I have spoken, but I will not answer. Yet twice, but I will proceed no farther." What did he say? "I said too much. I'll put my hand over my mouth and I ain't saying another word. I'm done." You ever felt that way? I have. I shouldn't have said that. That shouldn't have come out. Sorry. Well, go on. Keep on. No, I've already said too much. I've already gone too far. He realizes the mistake he made in questioning God's wisdom, and he repents. He said, "I abhor myself, and now I repent in dust and ashes." And he's blessed. God gave him 10 more children. I don't know if that eased the pain. It probably did, to some degree. And doubled all the material possessions he lost because he stayed faithful to God through all of it. Now, look at chapter 42 and verses 7 through 10. Job 42, beginning with verse 7. "So it was, after the Lord had spoken these words to Job, that the Lord said to Eliphaz the Temanite, My wrath is aroused against you and your two friends, for you have not spoken of me what is right, as my servant Job has." Wait a minute. This is the guy that said he had special information from God. This is the guy that said he had a special vision, that God told him Job had done something horrible, and all he had to do was repent. God said, "That's not right." He wasn't being punished for something horrible he did. He wasn't. God spoke to him and said, "My wrath is aroused against you and your two friends. For you've not spoken of me what is right, as my servant Job has. Now therefore take for yourselves 7 bulls and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, and offer up for yourselves a burnt offering, and my servant Job shall pray for you. For I will accept him, lest I deal with you according to your folly, because you have not spoken of me what is right, as my servant Job has. So Eliphaz the Temanite, and Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite went and did as the Lord commanded them, for the Lord had accepted Job. And when the Lord restored Job's losses when he prayed for his friends, or the Lord restored Job's losses when he prayed for his friends, indeed the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before. Here's an interesting thing in verse 11. I wasn't going to talk about this because of time, but all his brothers and all his sisters and all those who had been his acquaintances before came to him and ate food with him in his house, and they consoled him and comforted him for all the adversity that the Lord had brought upon him. Each one gave him a piece of silver, and each one a ring of gold. Where were they during the hard times? Where were these brothers and sisters and people with gold and silver that could have come and given him a place to live and hired a doctor? Where were they? Be careful about taking the easy way and not helping folks. I encourage you. Go out of your way to help folks. James said in James 1 and verse 2, "My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing the testing of your faith produces patience, but let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect, complete, and lacking nothing." So, lessons from Job that are very important. Earthly troubles are not necessarily, I don't know if I have that on. Yeah, I do. Earthly troubles are not necessarily punishment for evil. You see, there is a school of thought, and has apparently always been, all the way back in the Bible and in your culture, there is a school of thought that when bad things happen to you, it's punishment for a bad thing you did, and the bad thing that happens to you is in proportion to the horror of, or the depth of the thing you did. Does that make sense? If you get really punished bad, you did really something really bad. That's what Job's friends thought. Your friends think that. There are people in this culture that think that. In our culture. Boy, I don't know what he did, but the gods are angry at him. That's rarely the case. You don't know if that's the case anyway. Material riches, lesson number 2. Material riches can be gone in an instant through no fault of your own, so don't hang your hat on them. You can be the perfect little Dave Ramsey clone. You can do everything right with your money. You can do all the investing and have everything laid back so you can retire when you're 60 and live like a king. And it can be gone like that. Through no fault of your own. You can do the right planning. Doesn't always happen, doesn't often happen, but does happen. What did Job do to lose everything he had? Stayed faithful to the Lord. was a blameless, upright man. Lost everything he had. Didn't invest it badly. Wasn't swindled. Just lost it. We serve God because it's the right thing to do, not because of what we get out of it. Remember when Jesus was baptized and John the Baptist said, you ought to be baptized in me. And Jesus said, let it be done to fulfill all righteousness. Jesus didn't have any sins to wash away. His baptism was because it's the right thing to do. You and I serve God because it's the right thing to do. With temptation is made a way of escape, 1 Corinthians 10 and verse 13. I'm sure Job was tempted to just... you know something that never comes up in Job, though? Suicide. Suicide. He never once... He does say, I wish my birthday was blotted out of the calendar. and he does say, I wish I'd been stillborn, or I wish I hadn't been born, or I wish that nobody had ever heard of me. He did say those things. But he never once said, I know how to end this. He never thought about killing himself, apparently. Never said it anyway. So that's not the way out. Whether in this life or the one to come, the faithful will be rewarded in the end. Now, I know this is a whirlwind survey of one of the greatest books, one of my favorite books in the whole Bible. But maybe you have gained something from it, and maybe you want to say something. Maybe there's a comment that you've thought of, if you would. I like Job. He's one of my favorite characters. Brother B.B. James was a famous preacher, and his son Tom was a friend of mine. And Tom and I have had long, heated debates. We loved each other. But we've had long, heated debates because Tom doesn't think this is real. He thought, he's dead now, but he thought this was an allegory to teach us some sort of lesson about how to handle suffering. He said that it couldn't be possible that God would let this happen to this man. I believe it did. I believe he did. And I believe that Job was a real character, and this really happened to him, and that he really learned from it, and that you and I have learned from it for thousands of years. Probably one of the oldest books in the Bible, one of the earliest written. It was in the patriarchal age because he was the chief male of the clan, and he offered the sacrifices for his family, and so possibly one of the oldest. Y'all gonna talk, Clay? Yeah.
Often that's the thing that people want from us.
Yeah.
If I only knew why, and Job's saying that.
Yeah.
We could see the lie, and we still are satisfied.
Yeah.
It teaches us that knowing the lie wouldn't make us happy, right?
Right.
It's part of being in a broken world.
Clay, if you couldn't hear him online, you probably couldn't. He said one of the advantages we have when we read this book is we have the bird's eye view. We know the whole thing. We know how it comes out at the end. We know why it's happening and all that. The people to whom it was happening didn't know at the time. Mike? Yeah, you're going to answer me. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he was talking, God was talking to him. And he said, I've already said too much. I'm not going to talk to you no more. But anymore. But God, Mike said one of the things that is interesting here in verse 7, God said, you prepare yourself like a man, and I'll question you and you'll answer me. And Job's been doing all the questioning, hadn't he? He's been asking all the questions. God said, I'm going to ask some questions now. Absolutely. Good deal. Okay, we need to get into Psalms. In the English Bible, the Psalms is almost always in the middle of the printed text. The reason, I think, in all the translations that I looked at, it was in the middle. And the Psalms of the Old Testament are the heart of the spiritual experiences of Jew and Gentile. The book was a manual guide for the devotional life of Jewish believers. It's divided into 5 parts of songs, 5 groups, each ending with a doxology, a praise God, 1 through 41, 42 through 72, 73 through 89, 90 through 106, and 107 through 150 are the various sections. And the richness of this book, in 10 minutes, there's no way we're going to be able to even scratch the surface. But the writers are widely varied, with many being anonymous. Think about the last two Sunday mornings. I think yours was on a Sunday morning, wasn't it? 119. Clay talked about Psalm 119. I talked about Psalm 111. And one of these days before long, I'm going to talk about Psalm 112. And so we get a lot of our material from this book. It's a beautiful book. They are songs, and they're songs about everything. 73 of these are attributed to David, so oftentimes it's called the Psalms of David. Psalm 72 and 127 are attributed to Solomon. There's one each from somebody named Heman and one named Ethan. One is said to have been written by Moses. Psalm 90 is said to have been written by Moses. 23 by the Levitical singing groups of Asaph and Korah. The rest of them are anonymous. It is Hebrew poetry at its finest. Parallelism. Hebrew poetry relies heavily on normal or what they call regular parallelism, which is the poem makes an assertion on the first line and then it parallels the same thought in different words. Very quickly, I'll show you one. Psalm 51 is a good place, I think, in verse 2. This is what I'm talking about when I talk about parallelism. Wash me thoroughly from my iniquity and cleanse me from my sin. Well, that's the same thing, isn't it? Wash me from my iniquity and cleanse me from my sin is saying the same thing two different ways. That's what Hebrew poets did. And so a lot of times you'll read these and that will be parallelism. Another type of parallelism is contrast. The second line reinforces the first by stating a contrasting thought. A thought that causes you to put it over against the other one. Look at chapter 30 and verse 5, I think is a good one. They were driven out from among men. They shouted at them as a thief. Two different things and sort of a contrasting thought. Then there's synthetic parallelism. The thought of the first line is extended and made complete by the second one. And you, if you've ever studied literature or poetry, you've dealt with all this, so we won't spend a whole lot of time on it. But chapter 9, Psalm 9 and verse 10, I think is a good illustration of this. He does great things past finding out, yes, wonders without number. And so it extends and completes. He does great things past finding out, to the point that they're without number. They're that long. And so, and then climatic parallelism, the second line repeats part of the first line. This is a neat way to write. I'd like to be able to write like this. And then it adds a new thought. Look at 77, Psalm 77 and verse 1 very quickly. And then we'll move on from this. I am a literature geek. I love words and why people put them the way they do and all that. So this stuff is just fascinating to me. 77 and verse 1. I cried out to God with my voice. To God with my voice. You hear? He repeated part of the first line, and He gave ear to me. The second part of that line is different than the other. So that's just some of the things, some of the ways that they wrote. The three themes of Psalms are praise, petition, and penitence, given much attention in the book, but the main themes are the two ways of life. Over and over and over again. The blessed man turns, the blessed person turns from evil and finds delight in the will of God and the ways of God. Blessed is the man who walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the path of the sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the law of the Lord. He's blessed. He's the one that's going to be like the tree planted by the water that shall not be moved. And then the contrast, or the other part of that is the wicked person knows only frustration and cannot stand before the great judge, and we have to make a choice. That is pretty much the theme of a huge percentage of the Psalms. The righteous will be blessed, the wicked will be punished. You get to choose which one you want to be, righteous or wicked. Major themes in the book of Psalms, God, the God of Israel. Our God is the personal God is at the heart of this book. His infinity is stressed, His goodness is stressed, His righteousness and justice, His willingness to forgive. Psalm 51, created me a clean heart, O God, wash me, make me white again. I'm broken, I'm sinful. How many people have cried out to Him for that? And then, of course, Psalm 23, you've learned from the time you were a child, He's our shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd. And so these are some of the major themes. Another major theme is anticipation of the Messiah. Psalms are prophetic in messianic prophecies. Judaism and Christianity see the Psalms as predictions of the Christ. Several Psalms referenced in the New Testament are said to have been about the Christ. Flip over to Acts chapter 2 very quickly, and I'll show you one, Psalm 110. Look at Acts chapter 2, 25, verse 25. They quote a psalm of David and attribute it, Peter does, attributes it to Jesus. Psalm 16 is being quoted in Acts 2:25, sorry. Acts 2:25. When I get in a hurry, I get ahead of myself. David says concerning Him. You see what Peter did? He quotes Psalm 16, and he says David was talking about Jesus in this. Now, Psalm 110 talks about Him in great detail as well, but what he said is, I foresaw the Lord always before my face. He's at my right hand, that I may not be shaken. Therefore my heart rejoiced, my tongue was glad. My flesh will rest in hope. You will not leave my soul in Hades, nor will you allow your Holy One to see corruption. You have made known to me the ways of life. You will make me full of joy in your presence. Peter takes David's psalm and attributes it to Jesus. And there's a whole list of those there. We don't have time to deal with them. But very quickly, there are things such as imprecatory psalms. Let me tell you this about imprecatory prayers or psalms. There's a country song that says, I pray that a flower pot falls out of the window on your head, and I pray that you have a flat tire or something and all that. I'll pray for you. That's sort of a joke about imprecatory psalms. But imprecatory psalms are psalms, prayers, that something bad happens to enemies of God. And what I want to tell you, we're out of time. Look down there at the very bottom. I taught a Bible class on imprecatory prayer, same thing. It's on YouTube at Rolling Hills Sound Room, March 19th, 2023. And I went into quite a bit of detail about imprecatory psalms and imprecatory prayers. So if you have time sometime to scroll down through the sound room thing and find that one, March 19th, 2023, you will find out all you want to know about imprecatory psalms, perhaps. Psalms used by the New Testament church. The early church used psalms. The verses that we quote to tell people why we sing and don't play, both of those verses mention psalms, hymns, spiritual songs. Psalms, I heard it defined one time, scripture put to music. Hymns, songs about Jesus and God. Spiritual songs, everything else. Songs about the church, songs about living the Christian life, songs about being straying pilgrims, those kinds of things. Psalms, hymns, spiritual songs. Most of the Bible is God calling to His creatures. The Psalms are man calling out to his God. Okay, Job and Psalms. You want to say anything? All right, there's a handout sheet back there if you want further study. Thank you. And Song of Solomon.